Before you dive into your content creation with both feet, let's rewind for a second and assess exactly what this will involve and what it means to be a YouTuber. How does one go about making money on YouTube, and how much can you expect to make? It's important you understand the business model here, as that is going to affect the way that you approach your content creation and your general approach to making money online. The main way in which you make money on YouTube is via advertising. Google has its own advertising platform, and it uses this to allow companies and brands to pay to show their adverts on your channel. This is a form of AdSense, for those who know what it is, which means it's PPC. In plain English, this means the advertising uses a pay-per-click system, although you can also get paid when you get a certain number of complete views. In other words, you aren't getting paid a flat fee for your advertising or getting paid per month. Rather, you're getting paid each time the advert is shown and each time someone clicks on it. Of course, not everyone who comes to your channel is going to watch the adverts all the way through or is going to click on them. But you can generally assume by pure statistics that you'll get a certain amount, which is called your CTR or click-through rate. And this means that for every 1,000 views on a video, you're likely to get paid a certain amount on average. Now, this isn't very much, and to be honest, you're probably going to need hundreds of thousands of views daily in order to make a decent amount of money, and certainly if you hope to make a full-time living from YouTube. But it can be done, and you can get there, if you're willing to not only work hard, but also work smart. Advertising is just one option, however, and there are actually many more ways you can monetize YouTube if you want to. One great example is just to promote a product of your own and sell that. If you can create an ebook, a clothing line, or anything else, you can promote that using your channel and drive sales. And this will work very well if you can focus on that value proposition and promoting the lifestyle as we've discussed earlier. Don't have a product? Well, no problem. You can promote products other creators have made and earn a commission on the sales. This is called affiliate marketing, and it pairs particularly well with YouTube, seeing as you can be very persuasive when people actually get to see you talking about the product in person, and you can even demonstrate it right on the screen. And finally, you can try and get sponsorship deals. Now, this works very well if you're in a visual medium like fitness, where it's common to get sponsorship from clothes manufacturers, supplement producers, and even companies that make training equipment. You can then demonstrate the products that you're promoting in your videos, and that way you can get a lot of exposure for them. Often these companies will pay per video, while in other cases they might pay a monthly fee, which is up to you to work out with them. Consider these factors and the type of monetization strategy you intend to use at the time that you create your channel idea. Different subjects will make it easier or harder to find sponsors, and generally a bit of pre-planning can go an awfully long way. When creating pretty much any business online, whether it's an affiliate marketing business, a blog, or anything else, the first question you'll often need to ask yourself is, what is it going to be about? Or to use the correct internet business parlance, what is your niche, or niche as some people pronounce it? A niche is a subject that will appeal to a specific audience. An example of a niche would be sewing. Now, sewing is something that appeals largely to older women, but also a lot of younger women these days who are interested in arts and crafts. And of course, some men like sewing too. Let's not stereotype here. Either way, most people are either interested in sewing or they're not. Thus, it has a niche appeal and gives you a specific target audience. You can go even more niche if you like, though, and choose crocheting or bird sewing patterns. But the more niche you go, the more narrow your audience. Another example of a niche is fitness. Now, fitness is a much larger niche because it will appeal to a huge proportion of the population. Nearly everyone will want to get fitter at some point in their lives. It's still a very specific subject matter that will talk to a very specific type of person, but it's a much broader niche. When it comes to internet business, the key often boils down to finding the right niche, and this will often mean finding a niche that has a broad appeal while not being overly competitive. The problem with the health and fitness niche is that you're going to be going up against a huge number of other channels. Some big names in this space include the Hodge twins, Athlean X, bodybuilding.com, Rob Riches, and Elliot Hulse, to name but a few. Many of these channels have been around for years now and have millions of subscribers and huge amounts of money to spend on marketing. That means if you want to go up against them with a video on how to get abs, you might well struggle to get your video to a position where it will actually be seen and clicked on. But on the other hand, a YouTube channel about crocheting cat patterns probably won't get looked for very often and will quickly reach its peak, leaving you with nowhere else to go, and of course a big cap on how much you can possibly earn. So you need to choose the right topic and to find that sweet spot. So how do you find your niche? A good option is to start with the bigger niches and then to focus down and find yourself a smaller sub-niche within the niche. So to start with, let's look at what the very biggest niches are and what the most lucrative ones are. In general internet marketing, the biggest niches are fitness, dating, self-help, and making money. This is because all of these subjects are things which have a hugely broad appeal and which will appeal to practically everyone. If you have the marketing budget, then you can reach the biggest potential audience this way. At the same time, though, these niches are huge because they have something else going for them: value proposition. Each of them has something very big and important to offer people, an emotional hook that makes people more passionate about a channel. So, for example, fitness isn't really just about getting into shape. It's about being more confident, sexier, healthier, and happier thanks to your training and your diet. People hope that by watching these channels, they can turn their lives around. The same goes for money and dating. These offer complete lifestyle changes. They let people find love or get more sex. They allow them to travel around the world and to wear nice watches. They have a real emotional hook, and this means the products sold in advertising can charge a lot more. People are much more willing to pay for a book that will make them $1 billion than they are to pay for a book that can teach them how to sew. But YouTube is a weird place, and when you look around YouTube, you'll find that these regular rules only partly hold true. But there's actually a lot of other highly successful content there that is just plain inane, to be quite frank. Some of the biggest topics on YouTube outside of those big internet marketing favorites are gaming, makeup tutorials, grooming and style, travel, technology, fails, cats, DIY, comedy, and lifestyle vlogs. That's a much more bizarre selection of niches, and if you look around you'll find thriving subcultures celebrating all kinds of other unusual things. There are some very popular YouTube channels, for example, that show people how to transform new Transformer toys. The thing to understand about YouTube is that it's much more visual than a blog or a social media channel. And this means any subject matter that is more visual in nature and more dynamic is almost sure to be a success. Cat videos provide immediate laughs, while makeup tutorials show women how to look their most beautiful and have the proof that it works right there on the screen. And people enjoy watching inane things like vlogs about the everyday lives of YouTube stars because, well, believe it or not, it almost feels like company. People enjoy watching the YouTube channels of people who are like the coolest friend that they'd love to hang out with. YouTube is such a direct, personal format that it's a great way to create almost a relationship with your audience and to thereby make a big impact on them. This works even better if you can sell the kind of lifestyle they find desirable and thereby allow them to live vicariously. A lot of people watch the lifestyle vlogs of rich, attractive people because they want to live those kinds of lifestyles themselves, and of course, a lot of it is fabricated. Meanwhile, watching someone else play a video game and providing a commentary can be a way to recreate the feeling of hanging out with your mates while playing GoldenEye on the N64 in your youth. And at the same time, you're getting news and footage of new games that you might be interested in. So, how do you bring all these disparate elements together into something that will really work for you? Well, that's a question only you can answer. But a good way to start is to take a broad niche that has a wide appeal and then focus down. For example, you can go with fitness, but find your own way into the industry by making your channel all about fitness for the over 50s. This is a brilliant way to offer something a bit different and a bit unique, and thereby stand out from the crowd while still having that value proposition and universal appeal. Another thing to always remember is to be true to yourself. Choose the niche you're most comfortable with, and you'll find you have much more to say on the matter. You'll come across as much more passionate and interested in your own topic, and you'll be better able to inspire your audience to listen to you. I can't tell you which niche you need to pick, but using all this information, hopefully you can come up with something that will have a big appeal while also being true to who you are. There's an awful lot to take on board here, but the most important thing to always keep in mind is that you're aiming to provide value and to offer something different. You can be smart about the way you do this in order to minimize your work and to maximize your exposure, but the key is to be genuine, to be interesting, and to really work on the quality and production values. It's also important to be consistent and to keep plugging away. Don't expect fame to come overnight, and don't expect your first video to get 1,000 views. This takes a lot of time and dedication, and you need to be consistently and reliably churning out high quality video if you're going to convince people to subscribe and keep coming back. But if you're smart and you're determined, then there's no reason you can't make it with the very best of them, and once the hits start coming, things will start to take off fast. And trust me, it's more than worth it. There are plenty of ways to make money online, but none quite like becoming a YouTube celebrity. Making money through YouTube not only means you have a very stable source of large income without putting in that much work, but it also means achieving some measure of actual fame. If you make it big on YouTube, people will recognize you in the street, and it can even end up leading to other opportunities for your business. This is how celebrities are made in the digital age, so why not get involved? Of course, this is not what a YouTube celebrity will actually tell you. They'll say they've got it hard, that making content for YouTube is more difficult than it looks, and Google takes most of their commission. This may be true, but at the end of the day, they're still often making a video a day maximum, and often only a video a week, and they're still making huge amounts of money for talking on camera about something they love. But don't get me wrong, none of this is to say that becoming a YouTube celebrity is a get-rich-quick scheme. Not by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, making money on YouTube is not easy at all, and there is a definite skill to this and a fair bit of luck involved too. A lot of people work incredibly hard at their YouTube content for years, never to see any real returns on it. So the question is, how do you go about exploding your content and building an effective business model on YouTube? How can you become the next big YouTube sensation? And what if you don't have a dashing camera smile? This video series is the answer. Here, you're going to learn absolutely everything you need to know to practically guarantee your success on YouTube. You'll learn not only how to build a massive audience in no time at all, but also how to make the most of that audience. You'll see how you can make money from advertisements and from sponsors. You'll discover growth hacking tricks to accelerate your progress, and you'll see how to make an effective YouTube channel without even setting foot in front of the camera. This series is your blueprint for YouTube success, and if you follow it exactly, you'll be giving yourself the very best chance of massive success on the platform. The tips in the last video will all help people to find your videos. But there are also some basic marketing strategies you can opt to use to help your channel grow faster overall too. Watch any of the big YouTube channels and you'll find that they end in pretty much the same way, with the creators asking their viewers to like, share and subscribe. This is the simplest way to get more subscribers, and it works very well. A lot of people are more than happy to like your content. It just doesn't occur to them, or they don't realize quite how much it helps you. Just asking can make all the difference by making it easy and reminding them. Another very important tip when growing your following on YouTube is to look for other YouTubers that you can partner up with. If you watch any big channel, you'll find that very often it will work with other big channels and feature guest appearances from other creators or just mention those other creators. A channel that does this very well is Vsauce, which features answers to many fascinating questions. Michael Stevens is the creator of this channel, and he is almost always recommending other creators or having them come on to talk about their areas of special knowledge. This is essentially influencer marketing. It means you're finding an influencer, in other words, anyone with a large existing audience, and getting them to promote you. The key to success in this arena is not to try and be too ambitious right away. In other words, you're probably not going to get a shout out from Vsauce unless you're already pretty huge. Instead, try and find someone who is about the same size as you and in a similar niche and ask if they want to do a crossover video with you. This way, you both stand to gain by exposing each other to your respective audiences. This will give you a boost in numbers, which means you can try and reach out to someone even larger next time. If you don't have any luck with this right away, you can also try just giving people free mentions, and you may find that those creators are flattered by it and see fit to do the same for you in kind. Try not to view other creators in your community as your competitors. Instead, view them as colleagues and think of the niche as a community of creators. This way, you'll be able to ingratiate yourself into that community and work with them to help get yourself known, while delivering something new for their viewers. Of course, YouTube's advertising platform is not just a way for you to make money. It can also be a way for you to spend money on your own adverts. This way, you can create an advert that will show at the start of other videos and bring people to your channel. This costs money though, so it's not going to be a good option unless you already have a good form of monetization set up, and that needs to be more than just advertising. If your YouTube channel is the start of an effective sales funnel that leads people to buy a high-ticket item, you can calculate your LCV, that's lifetime customer value, and then decide how much you're willing to spend on ads. If you choose to go down this route, then it can be very effective. Just take a look at the success of Tai Lopez thanks to his Here in My Garage ads, even if he is pretty much despised by half of the net. Finally, make sure that you aren't doing all of your promotion on YouTube. The best way to look at YouTube is as one part of a much broader strategy to build your brand and build trust and influence across the web. This means you should be on social media, and this will give you a way to share your content as you build more followers. Think of this as a virtuous cycle and try to focus on the synergy between your social channels and your YouTube channel. You can ask people to follow you on Twitter and Facebook in your videos, and then use Facebook and Twitter to bring more people back to your YouTube channel and hopefully get more shares among the broader network. This will help to make your brand feel more like a movement rather than a one-man show and should help you to build genuine followers. Your blog, meanwhile, can serve a similar role, and you can use this to add additional content to your videos. This will make it easier for your videos to be found on Google and will give your fans a base where they can enjoy your content when they don't have the option of watching YouTube. The key to good branding is to be everywhere, and just because YouTube is your focus, that doesn't mean you should ignore other channels. With what we've said so far, you should now have a good idea of how to run your channel and keep adding new exciting content. But at first, you're going to find it a wholly unrewarding process. You'll upload your first video after spending ages working to get it just right, and then no one will click on it. If you're lucky, your first video might land you 100 views, and it will probably take months to get to that point. More likely, you'll have 3 views, and one of them will be your mother. Then you have to make another video and another, and it'll feel like you're wasting all that time and effort. Well, the first thing to recognize is this is not a waste. For starters, you're building your audience this way, but at the same time, it's worth noting that you'll be able to reuse your old footage. There's no reason that you can't promote those old videos once you have a much bigger audience, so don't worry if nobody sees them right away. And at the same time, you should start looking at ways to help people find your videos and begin generating momentum for your channel. Now, there are a few different things that you can do here that will help. Now, let's take a look at them. Now, this might sound very obvious, but of course, making content with a very popular subject matter is going to help you get more views. And better yet, making content that has a big dedicated audience, or that is not an overly crowded audience, will help you to stand out and get noticed amongst the crowd. Let's say you're making opinion videos about computer games. A great way to make sure that you get noticed is to make a video about Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic is a somewhat divisive figure in the video gaming community, but there is a huge die-hard audience for him out there. If you make a video on Sonic, you can almost rest assured that it will get thousands of views and likes just from people searching for new content on their favorite mascot. Got a football channel? Then how about making a video about a smaller local team? There won't be that much content out there on this team, which means those fans will only have your video to satisfy their appetite. Again, this can be a good way to find a huge audience and build on it. Got a fitness channel? Well, try making a video on Bruce Lee. He's such an iconic figure that nearly any video on him is bound to get tons of likes and follows. YouTube uses numerous different metrics in order to determine if a video is popular and whether it should be promoted. One of these is how long the video is viewed for and how often it gets likes. So if your videos get watched all the way through every time and get thousands of likes, then your channel is going to look very popular and you're going to see your videos climbing the ranks of YouTube. This is another very good reason to make your content shorter, because it means that 3 minutes is now 100% of your video instead of 20%. Another tip is to give your viewers a reason to stick around. Tell them at the start of your video about something exciting coming up at the end, for instance. If you were trying to promote a website, then one of the ways you'd do so would be to use keywords. These are terms that people regularly search for when they use Google, and by lacing these into your content, you can ensure that Google will make the connection. Well, you can't do this in your videos because Google can't search the content of what you're saying. Well, yet. But what you can do is choose relevant keywords to add to the video when you upload it. Now, these should be things that people are likely to search for, as well as things that will make your video come up in the suggested videos at the right time. The way to get this right is to look for popular subjects, but at the same time, you want to make sure that the phrases you pick really are relevant. You're not trying to trick people into watching your videos here. All that will do is to get them to turn off very quickly. If you want to find good search terms, you can use Google AdWords Keyword Planner. Now, this will tell you what people are searching for on Google, and it might be different from what people are searching for on YouTube, but it will nevertheless be similar at least. But you can also just use a little common sense here. When you create your videos, try to think what people might be searching for when looking for that content. It works very similarly to hashtags in Instagram or on Twitter. Likewise, you can also use keywords in your video title and even in your description. In general, it's important to make sure you add lots of content to your description and write about what viewers can expect to see in the videos. Not only can this be a great way to offer more additional value to your visitors by letting them sift through the key points, but it'll also give YouTube more content to use to learn about your videos. You have a YouTube profile, and this is something that can also come up in searches. So you want to optimize this for YouTube SEO, in other words, search engine optimization, just as you're optimizing your videos themselves with the keywords and descriptions. This means making sure you fill out your About page by adding lots of content into your description section. In your home page, you can also make your channel more appealing by adding playlists so that people can quickly find different types of content from you, and this way you can separate your content into different categories. You can also create a channel advert, which will be a video that introduces people to your channel and encourages them to subscribe. Add a profile image, a banner image, and be sure to link all of your social media accounts as well. All of this will help YouTube see that you're on the ball as far as content creation goes, which in turn will mean your videos get more promotion. So let's say someone is watching a video in the same niche as your channel and they see your video come up as a suggested video because of the keywords you used. If you have the right thumbnail and the right video title, it'll make your video appealing enough that people just can't avoid watching it. A brilliant example of this comes from Yo Elliott. Elliott Hulse is a strength training YouTuber who talks mainly about lifting weights and getting stronger. But despite this, he's managed to become almost a household name and is well known outside of fitness circles. Why? Because of his Yo Elliott series. These feature him asking questions that viewers have. These really speak to that value proposition that we discussed earlier and talk about things anyone can relate to and benefit from. These are the things that will get an emotional reaction from people and that they will think can help make their lives better. Just check out some of these video titles. How to approach women. Give mini orgasms. How to destroy self-doubt. Masturbation gives me energy to work out. How to confidently command respect. When is it okay to fight? What guy doesn't want to give women mini orgasms and confidently command respect? Whatever you think about this kind of content, there's no denying that it certainly stands out, and it's easy to see why people click on it. And even if you think it's probably garbage, a lot of people will click on it just to see what kind of garbage it is. It's interesting to see what he's going to say. You don't need to use this exact method, but just keep in mind that you can make your titles much more clickable by offering something that promises real value, that stands out, and that people will really want to hear. Finally, there's no reason you can't simply post your videos in order to share them. Don't be afraid to post your videos on Reddit or on Google Plus in the relevant communities. This way, you can find the audience that will enjoy your content the most and get a lot of quick views. So now you know the types of video you're going to create and you know what your workflow is going to be like. The next question is, what makes a great video? There are a number of answers to this question, and actually, what makes a great YouTube video is not necessarily the same thing as what makes a good video generally. But there are certainly some things that will help you to make your video more successful and more popular on YouTube. So follow these tips to take your video creation to the next level. Statistically, videos on YouTube that are shorter tend to do better. And in fact, this will also help you out as it means you can upload several videos a week rather than just one. Now, how long is optimal? Well, generally, the official recommendation is that your video be between 3 and 3.5 minutes. However, anything under 10 minutes is generally going to be fine. There's a chance you might struggle with this, however. After all, a lot of people will find that they want to cram in lots of extra information and make their videos as informative as possible. And of course, this is a very admirable objective. The answer is not to make your videos less informative or less detailed. Instead, focus on breaking them down. If you have one video that covers every single aspect of brain training, then try to make 3 videos instead, each taking a different specific aspect of your subject matter. Another way to make your videos shorter and more impactful is to cut out the fluff. People click on videos because they want answers to a question or because they want entertainment. Thus, your objective should be to try and provide them with those things as quickly as possible and not to fill your videos with long, unnecessary chatter. Instead, just get to the point right away. The worst thing you can do is to film a video that makes you seem like someone who is completely bland and uninteresting. But unfortunately, this happens a lot. And it's not because the people making those videos are bland and uninteresting. Rather, it's worth noting that the camera will sap energy, and if you're being somewhat charismatic, then that's not enough. Be big, loud, and enthusiastic, almost as though you're acting what you're saying, and you'll find that it actually comes across as being a lot less over the top when you're watching it back. You just have to increase your energy levels. Meanwhile, let your sense of humor show. Let your personality and preference come across, and try not to just read your script as though you were reeling it off in an English class. It takes practice, but don't worry, this will come with time, and the best way to learn is just to practice. Also, it's very important to stand out and be different. Try to offer something in your niche that isn't currently being offered, rather than just making a rehash of what's already out there. In other words, if you're making a fitness channel, then try to stay away from how to get abs videos. They're done to death, and there's too much out there already for you to really offer something new. How about posing a question that no one else has answered? Or maybe approaching a subject matter in a new way. You could create a training regime that's inspired by the movies. You could use an unusual item to work out with, or you could train in the rain. Either way, you'll be creating something that's unique and different, and that means that when people are scrolling through their YouTube home, they'll be more likely to pause when they come to your offering and perhaps try it out. We talked about this a bit already, but try to make sure that your video is high energy. In other words, avoid long pauses between your speech, avoid long static shots, and generally keep the movement up. And this is what will make your videos engaging and will keep people watching.